Hi, I'm Anna Moore. I'm the HR Director of Pollinate International Limited. Well, here in Pollinate, I would say in HR, the key priority in a fintech world is to attract and retain great talent in what is really a really hot market, and then to motivate them and keep them for as long as we can. Well, we work in a very specialised area, a specialised field, and I think the challenge was that we were having to either pay an awful lot for the expertise that we got in, but also we needed to be able to react very quickly with people ready in the market to do what we needed to do. And being a startup, you need a lot of flexibility within your workforce, so you need people that are prepared to not necessarily work to a strict job description. I think what makes it different for me is with Grayce, it's the fact that they provide the training as well. So the Grayce people come to us for the work experience, but they know they're supported with that training behind them, and it gives them some sort of structure and feeling that they're achieving their own professional development at the same time as working as working with us and getting that work experience. It's a real sort of partnership, I'd say, between us and Grayce. So we've had 5 Grayce consultants. In fact, I think we might have had 6 across the business. And we've actually had quite an innovative approach as well, because we've tried to put analysts in places where you haven't typically put analysts. So for example, I've had one in my area, Greg, who has so we've tried different things, and I like that about Grayce, that we've been prepared to try a different approach. So we've used them where we've needed capability, we've wanted a bit of a fresh look at things, and in areas where we need a sort of versatility of bright, capable people who can put their hands to a whole lot of things. The analysts I like because I would always recommend people to have more than one Grayce analyst if they can, because what ours have formed is a real sort of little community within themselves, and I think they provide their own support network in here. I love their can-do, let's try anything, push the boundaries, and they really push us at times, which I really like. In terms of the service team, what's fantastic is we've got a very open, honest relationship. We have those regular sort of account feedback meetings, which are not terribly formal, but I feel like we have a really good open working relationship and can be really honest one to the other, and that's worked really well. I think one of the main things we've benefited from is we haven't had to have the costs and the time to invest in what I would call a graduate training programme. So we've had all of the upsides of that in terms of the bright people, but without having to invest huge amounts of time and money in the training side of things. I also think the other thing that we have been able to rely on, and I have to say has been consistent, is the calibre of the people we've got. So they're all vetted, they all are of a certain calibre, which I think is really good. I would say providing bright, fresh talent in a market that's very hot, that's hard to get people straight away, and I think they've been able to help us with talent and successional talent right through, because we've built in Pollinate an awful lot of senior experts, but actually what we want is to find the next senior experts that might come through, and hopefully some of the Grayce people will be that. Well, I've learned quite a lot because this is a whole new scheme for me. I hadn't had experience of schemes like this before. But what I think I've learned is it is a really good way of getting talent. I'd also say I personally have learned an awful lot from the Grayce analysts that have come in. As I said, they are a very capable, quite confident bunch. and they've brought loads to us. They have I look at the HR analyst I have, he has a different perspective on things that really challenged me to think in a different way. So I would say they've really added sort of an extra level of knowledge in our organisation. There are other companies out there that do services like this. The difference to me is the sort of holistic approach that Grayce has, that they're there to be concerned about the employer and what we want, but they're also there to be concerned about the Grayce candidates. And so you've got this sort of holistic view. So I would say, don't underestimate the worth that brings. There are several organisations that can bring you in bright graduates, but they don't necessarily have the support network around them, and I think that's what's brilliant about Grayce.